I'm amazed sometimes about how strategic Jesus was in his teachings to his men. When one time they asked him, Lord, teach us to pray, Jesus goes into this full chapter dialogue about prayer. And in Luke 11:5 verses 8, he talks about this story about this man who has a friend who comes to him in the middle of the night on a journey. And realizing he has nothing in his house to feed him, he goes next door to another friend's house and knocks on the door. And the man inside says, I can't come out, it's late, I'm in the bed with my kids, I'm not getting up to give it to you. But what does the man do? It says in the King James, his importunity. In other words, he literally just starts banging on the door and causing such a ruckus that the man finally gets up and gives him what he needs. Now let's look at this from a perspective of Jesus' strategy on prayer. Now you've got one friend, right? The man who's living in his household. He's got a normal day. He's going along, no problem, not thinking about nothing. And all of a sudden that evening, he gets this visitor, this friend who's on a journey. Well, in that culture, it was highly disgraceful to not be hospitable to travelers. And so he's looking for something to give this man, realizing he doesn't have nothing. Many Christians are that way. God has sent people toward their path. They've crossed their lives at some point, and not able to feed them, the person is sent on their way. How many of us as Christians realize it's our opportunity and our responsibility to have fresh bread available for a traveler coming on a journey? See, there's people that are going to come in and out of your life at all times. And just like this man on a journey, he doesn't come at a convenient time. Probably the worst time to receive someone in the middle of the night. But this man, understanding he's not prepared to serve this guy, he has an idea. He knows someone he can go and get it from. And we'll talk about this guy's the third friend. So he goes to his friend and he starts knocking on the door. And literally the man inside is not going to be moved. He says because of his friendship, he would not rise and give him anything. So in other words, friendship didn't move the man to get up and help him. But what did move the man to get up and help him? It literally meant shameless persistence. He's literally banging on the door of this man's house, banging loud, causing a ruckus, causing the neighbors to wake up, causing the wife to get upset at the man, the children to start to stir. And finally the man just spent with frustration, finally gets up and jerks the door open and says, here's all you want, and sends him on his way. Jesus is talking about prayer. How many of us, as it were, go to the house of God or Christ himself and bang on the door saying, I need bread, I need bread, I need bread, I need bread. Because a man's come into my life and I've got nothing to put in front of him. See, because of my friendship with Jesus, that doesn't move him. But because of my importunity or my shameless persistence to get bread from him to give to somebody else. See, a person who's always clamoring for bread for themselves doesn't move God's heart. But the one who's clamoring for bread so that he can feed a hungry traveler or a person on a journey, that's what moves God's heart. So if your prayer life look like that, is you as a disciple maker learning to train the next available man who's hungry and on a journey and through life and is going to impact the world, are you banging on the door of heaven to get bread to feed them? That's the heart of that prayer.